welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Jasmine McDonald. If you're new here, I post ballet and fitness related videos every single Tuesday, Thursday, and now Sunday. And if you're also new, you may as well hit subscribe. Happy Vlogmas day, I think it's day 9, so happy Vlogmas day 9. Thank you guys for keeping up with me, and I've been having so much fun on this Vlogmas journey. For today's video, I thought we would do a sit-down video and I would answer some of your questions that you asked me in my Instagram stories. If you're not following me, by the way, on Instagram, it is JASSOME, and I post there every single day. And my TikTok is also JASSOME, JASSOME. 3 S's for TikTok, 2 for Instagram. So without further ado, let's get into it. And you guys asked a lot of questions, so let's start. Do you have a Spotify playlist for ballet? I do, and I will link it down below. I specifically listen to Tanya Gordon because I grew up with her, went to ballet school, and she was one of our pianists. And I also listened to Rob Thaler because again, he was one of our pianists, Mr. Thaler. I'm pretty sure it was Thaler. But anyways, if I'm saying it wrong, I'm so sorry. I forget. It's been like more than a decade, but I listen to those 2 pianists and they are my favorite to listen to. I also love Nate Fifield. He does a lot of Disney hits that are classical and perfect for ballet class. That's personally what I use for teaching, but to listen to, I always use the Tanya Gordon one. How can I improve my arches? I use Freed. Do you have any tips to keep them from fast? Oh my goodness. So one of my top tips for preserving the life of shoes for longer would this one's gonna sound weird now, but I put them in the freezer, especially with Freed. So you can either shellac them on the outside before you start wearing them, because shellacking isn't going to really preserve them once they're too broken, or you jet glue in the same thing before you start wearing them, or just after a couple of times to kind of maintain the broken-inness without being too broken of them, and then you freeze them. So that's one of the things that I used to do. Jet glue is definitely one of the best ways you can preserve shoes. So I would highly recommend jet gluing your shoes and also consulting with the pointe shoe fitter to make sure that the shoes they're giving you are lasting long enough, that are affordable, and that support your arches. Because hey, maybe they gave you a shoe that's too soft and you want something harder in the shank. So definitely consult with your pointe shoe fitter. But other than that, those 2 tips or 3 tips, I guess, I use personally. So that helps preserve them for longer. Also not sinking in your shoes, you know, really pulling up, using the lift out of your hips and out of your ankles so you're not just sinking, if you know what I mean. Where do you get your dance clothes and leg warmers and tops from? Oh, there's so many different places. So firstly, Yumiko is mainly where my leotards are from. I have some from Ainsleywear too, that Ainsleywear I know doesn't exist anymore, but I have some Gaynor Minden as well. Leotards from Gaynor Minden, some tights from Gaynor Minden. And I think in terms of clothes, I have a lot of hand-me-downs from other dancers, and I also purchase a lot of my clothes from, I don't know, like Lululemon. Like I'm wearing the studio pants from Lululemon, and for cheaper options, I just have some from Winners, and they work perfectly fine. And Winners is my favorite place on earth, so I'll just say I get everything from Winners. In terms of other things though, Tutulist is a great platform. I talked about them last week in my video about how they are basically an online thrift store, a platform with thrifting where you can be a buyer or a seller. You can give away or sell your gently used dancewear, but you can also purchase gently used dancewear. So that's a great option because I have some leotards and some leg warmers from there. What is your moisturizer? Great question. Lately, I have been using the Cetaphil moisturizing lotion on my entire body, including my face, because it has no parabens. It has hydrating avocado oil, vitamin E, vitamin B5. It's dermatologist tested. It's for face and body. It's paraben free, fragrance free, and I don't know what that means, but non-comedogenic, whatever that means. But I have really sensitive skin, so one of my favorite things to use is the Cetaphil moisturizer. I also use the Laneige Lip Glowy Balm on my lips because my lips get very dry. And then other moisturizers that I use, you guys would have seen me in my past vlogs also use First Aid Beauty moisturizer. It is my favorite, but right now I'm a girl on a budget, and I got this at Costco with the cleanser as well in a package for like $20. Highly recommend. So adorable you are and so determined. Thank you. Can you do more what I eat in a day videos? That's actually going to be one of my Vlogmas videos, I think, because I love watching what I eat in a day. I think it's so interesting and cool to see what other people eat in a day, what other people do to fuel their bodies, and I get inspiration from that. So I'll definitely put that up because I am also a certified in a specialization in sports nutrition from the International Sports and Sciences Association, and I'm also a certified personal trainer. So No, am I perfect? Absolutely not, but I eat something that fuels me. I eat things that fuel me, things that fill me up, things that provide me energy to do what I do on a daily basis. So works out for me. And every body is different, so you guys shouldn't copy me in any way, shape, or form. We have totally different needs, but if it gives you some ideas for recipes, I would love to do that. What do you do professionally? I am a dance teacher. That is my full-time job. I also do YouTube on the side and TikTok and Instagram, although TikTok and Instagram have not been paying, so it's just YouTube. But I am a dance teacher and I teach a competitive team. I also teach recreational classes at a dance studio I work at. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Any tips for pirouettes? So in terms of technical tips, I do have a playlist for technique tips separately on my YouTube channel, and rather than dedicating this video to that, I will redirect you and you can just go ahead and watch that. So I'll put that somewhere in here in the cards as well as in the description box below. And my biggest tips for pirouettes is strong core, strong supporting leg, high working leg, fast spotting head, arms are in place, back is in place. I know that's a lot of tips, so go ahead and watch that video and do a tutorial with me. And the next one's how do you do a perfect pirouette. There's no such thing as a perfect anything in dance, and I want you to know that, because when it is perfect, I'd say 9 times out of 10, it's a fluke, because there's always gonna be something that you could have done better, something that didn't go as planned. Maybe you did an extra pirouette, maybe you did one less than you wanted to, maybe the landing wasn't as smooth. So don't be so hard on yourself. Rather than thinking, I need to do a perfect pirouette every single time, and I need to learn how to do a perfect pirouette every single time, think of how can I do a clean pirouette? How can I land cleanly every time? How can I make every single turn clean? Because there's always gonna be things that you wanna work on, but same thing, follow those videos that I linked below. Do you wear SPF every day? I have sensitive skin too, and sometimes SPF breaks out my skin. I do in the summer because quite frankly, in the winter time, I hibernate. You know, my job, I don't end until like 9 o'clock at night, so I don't really see much sunlight, and the only time I do is when I go out for a dog walk, so I tend to just wear a hat or my hood on top to protect my skin, and I'm covered like head to toe in the wintertime in Canada, so I don't wear SPF in the winter, but I do in the summer, and I get it. Like, it does break out your skin, and I found that one of the moisturizers that I got that had SPF kind of stank. Like, it was kind of stinky, you know what I mean? It was stinky. It was stinky, and I don't like that. And it like tasted like SPF. But I do have this skin tint from, oh, where's it from? Ilia, and it does have SPF in it if you want extra coverage as well. I really recommend that. It doesn't taste funny. And it makes your skin look all glowy. But if you're looking for a makeup-free option, I'll put some options down here. I used the Marcel moisturizer with 30 SPF, and it did a decent job, but same thing, it tasted kind of funny. That's my honest review. So no, I don't wear it all the time, but I do in the summer, and I just wear a lot of sunscreen because, as you guys can see, I'm very pale. Do you prefer long or short nails when you do pointe? For my toes, I was like, for my nails, obviously short, but for my toes, short. I cannot stand having long nails. I went to a school with a girl, and she would grow her nails so long that they start like curling under, and I was like, girl, how are you surviving right now? You are one of the bravest soldiers, whatever that saying is. You are truly one of the bravest soldiers out there. But yeah, I prefer them short because I find when I have longer nails, they start to dig in on the skin of my toe. I don't like that feeling. I don't like pain. Do you already have a video of your regular bar routine? I don't. But, oh, I so want to. But guys, here's the problem with YouTube and platforms like this. I can't like post it because it'll get taken down because of copyright. So I need to figure out a way. I know Catherine Morgan, I have a feeling she asks permission directly from the pianists themselves because she uses music. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that because I'd like to. And I've been doing the same routine for a year and it's helped me improve a lot. And it just makes things go by faster. It makes the process go by faster because I know the exercise next. So I'd love to. I'll get back to you on that. Have you thought of doing ballet and cosplay like Spider-Gwen? No, it's not really my thing, honestly. No. What do you think about clothing sizes in ballet? I think with clothing sizes, I will say, however, some sizes run really strangely, run super small. I think that the size ranges need to be wider so that everybody can dance because every body is a dancer's body. But I've never had to go through the struggle, so I can't really speak to people who have, if that makes any sense. Like, I'm always able to find my size, so I'm not somebody who can really speak to the issue. but I do believe that there should be size inclusivity with every brand. There should be size inclusivity, body representation for every single brand on the planet, whether you sell clothing, whether you sell makeup, whether you sell pointe shoes, literally anything. I think it just needs to be a wider range overall. How can you improve flexibility and technique on your own? Any tips? So it is possible. I think one of the biggest things when it comes to improving something on your own is having the self-discipline, because a lot of the time that's where people fall short, quite frankly. People are funny because I'm like this. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be so determined, I'm gonna do this and this and this. But you just have to do it. A lot of the time you have excuses in the back of your mind saying like, no, I don't feel like it today. Sometimes you just have to do it. I'm not saying push your limits and push yourself to the point of exhaustion at all. Have your rest days, but on the days where you don't feel like it, just try a little bit. Maybe do it in moderation, like do your stretching in moderation, and you'll feel better, especially when it comes to flexibility and strength. You know, I'm not saying like overexert yourself, but a lot of the time it just comes down to being consistent and showing up every day. You know, you look at the prima ballerinas who are at the top of their game right now. They didn't get there by doing ballet once a week or stretching once a week. They did it every night, they did it every day, they worked hard. And I'm not saying, again, push yourself to the point of exhaustion. You're human, but just show up for yourself. You know, dedicate time in your day, especially if you're like me and you're a procrastinator. Dedicate time in your day to set aside everything else and just focus on stretching or flexibility, or even just following a YouTube video. And hey, I have a lot of those. So definitely check out my ballet workouts or my stretching tips or technique tips. Favorite Disney movie? Oh my goodness, that's hard because it's changed over the years. When I was a little girl, I used to love Sleeping Beauty. She was my favorite. But now that I've thought about it, I'm like, the story's like, blah. It's okay. It's not my best, my favorite. But I love Mulan. Mulan's probably my favorite Disney movie. I just love Mulan. I think it's my favorite. I'd have to say Mulan. Yeah, Mulan. It's also the very first movie I ever went to as a kid, which is cool. I think I was like 2 years old and it was the first movie I went to in theaters, and then my mom said I was just saying Mulan, Mulan the whole time, which is pretty cute. So it's good memory. Any tips to deal with body dysmorphia as a dancer? So if you are struggling with body image and seeing yourself, definitely reach out to somebody, you know, whether that's a registered therapist, your mom, your dad, your dance friend. Talk about it because it's a very taboo subject. Nobody wants to touch, nobody wants to deal with. It feels dirty to talk about, but it's not. It's something a lot of dancers go through. And I know that there's case studies that say like 30% of girls go through. No, it's 9 out of 10. I know it is because I knew 9 out of 10 girls in my ballet classes were not okay in that way. You know, it's very prevalent, especially with young girls, guys too. It's very prevalent. So opening up the conversation, talking to somebody about it. And if you don't feel comfortable talking to somebody about it, reach out to a clinical therapist or a registered therapist. And I think that's the best way. I'm a huge advocate for therapy and a huge advocate for talking about things and opening up the conversations. And just know you are more than a body. You are more than your vessel. You are a whole human. You are a whole person first, dancer second. You know that saying? You are a human first. So be easy on yourself. I know it's easier said than done. If you're truly struggling, reach out, because you're not alone. What was the hardest part of you being a pro ballet dancer? Oh my gosh, probably the pay. I'm not gonna lie, the pay was pretty bad. I think that was the worst part, the pay. Because honestly, other than that, I loved it. I loved the rehearsals. It's gonna sound weird, but I love doing the really difficult ballets that left me like breathless and sweaty and disgusting and exhausted because I felt so accomplished and it felt good. It felt like a release. It felt like, it just felt so satisfying. I don't know, it sounds weird to say it. You know, I just love performing. That was my favorite part, but the part I liked the least had to be the pay. How to get better feet? I feel stuck with mine. So same thing, I got you. Follow this tutorial. I have many on flexibility and strength. When it comes to improving flexibility in one area, you have to complement it with strength training, because if you just keep working on flexibility, you can't really apply passive flexibility to dance movements. You know, you have to be able to strengthen your core if you're working on flexible back, to be able to strengthen your doming muscles and your intrinsic foot muscles underneath your feet. If you're stretching your ankles, so you can actually use your feet muscles when you're on point, use your feet muscles when you're pushing off the floor to jump. So complementing your stretching with strength training and strength and resistance training is key. So follow my tutorials for that. How to improve fondus on point? They're so hard. I know, I have not done them in years. Although, you know what? I did a tutorial recently on hops on point and I used Fondu on point as strength training. So definitely check out that video because that should help. because basically fondus, there's two ways of doing it in pointe shoes. You can either do the crunchy when you plie in fondu, or you can go all the way down. And I think the biggest tip I can give to you when it comes to fondus on pointe is staying lifted in your hips and thinking of suspend and lift as you go down and resisting going down, but ultimately giving into the floor in the plie, because a lot of people don't do that and they get really stuck. And you know, you're supposed to lift in your hips, but also release into the floor so you can relax the back of your ankle in plie. I have a whole video on plies as well, and I talk about that. How to not get scared to do pirouettes on pointe. You just gotta do it, because I know I have students too that are terrified and they just like freak out. And I used to be like that. I used to be that student that would freak out all the time when I was doing pirouettes on pointe. And now I'm so comfortable with them because I have fallen on my butt. I have went over and, you know, had a catastrophe of a landing. So just doing it. I feel like 90% of this video, I'm like, just do it. Just do it. But in truth, you just have to get used to it, because that scary feeling only goes away when you truly put yourself out there, and obviously in a safe way, in an environment where there's a teacher, where there's an instructor, where there's other people, not just by yourself, because that's when accidents happen. But putting yourself out there and trying your best, even with the idea that you might fail, because it's not that big a deal if you fall most of the time. But don't fall. Please don't fall and hurt yourself. But if you do, just get back up. You know what I mean? Like, as long as you're not hurt. But anyways, I hope that helped. How to not get embarrassed when you fall in pointe class, speaking of which, and how many times did you fall at first? Oh my goodness, all the time. I used to fall all the time. I almost exclusively fall in every class. You know what? In the end of the day, don't get embarrassed, because it happens. I remember this one time we were doing this stretch with the bar, and we were like putting our hips back kind of to stretch out our backs, and my feet slid out underneath me. My foot like pretty much went through the wall. And I was so embarrassed at first. But you know what? It is what it is. People fall. You're human. It's not that big a deal. It could have been worse. Could have been on stage. And I've fallen on stage before. And even that, like, as you know what? Front center, yes, I was in ballet school. Thank God I wasn't being paid in the moment. But even if you are, you're human. You make mistakes. It's not even a mistake. It's an accident. It's not that big a deal. Don't be so harsh on yourself. It happens to the best of us. How hard do you think it is to get into a classical ballet university? I would not know. I assume university you mean like post-secondary, because I know university in Europe means different things, but university here means like college, but like, yeah, that's what college is. So I have no idea. I assume it's the same process. I assume it's the same audition process where you have to either go to an open call audition, send in your photo video, and I have an audition tips video if you want to check that out as well. But basically, getting your resume, getting your CV, being confident, wearing something that makes you feel confident and comfortable, especially if there's no requirement to wear black and white or something, wearing something that stands out without being like sticking out like a sore thumb. You know what I mean? Like in my best auditions, I wore something that flattered me in like a deep blue color or something rather than like bright red, because I didn't want to stand out too much and then feel like the pressure's all on me. But I wanted something to stand out, so it wasn't just like black or white or something that made me blend in, if that makes sense. How to be confident on pointe as a beginner. So when it comes to pointe work, especially as a beginner, you just have to not be nervous, especially if you're in your good hands of your teacher. Just, you know, being really receptive to their corrections, and also realizing if you are in an environment where there's a lot of other beginners, it's okay. You know, you're not gonna be like doing crazy 32 pirouettes in a row or fouettes in a row the first day. Set your expectations low, but hope for the best. That is my motto. But in all honesty, I was someone who I was 14 when I started pointe, and when I first started pointe, I was put in the lower level class, and I was really embarrassed because I couldn't even do what the lower level kids were doing. Some of them could do pirouettes, fouettes, and all this jazz, and I could not. I could barely rise. But honestly, just putting in the work and the time and the effort, and just knowing that especially ballet and dance, it is not a race. You go at your own pace. Tips for improving faster. I love this question because a lot of people want to improve fast. A lot of people want to earn money fast. A lot of people just are in a rush. And I want you to remind yourselves, why are you in a rush? Life is so beautiful. I know that was cheesy, but it's true. Why are you in a rush? There's no rush here. Are you in a time limit? Like, are you gonna get kicked out if you don't get to this point? And if you are, then just be calm. It's okay, it's gonna work out. And if you aren't in that time limit where your teacher's like, you're gonna get kicked out if you don't get flat splits or whatever, why are you in a rush? Why? Just enjoy the process, because if you're always chasing the future, you never quite enjoy the present or appreciate the past. You know what I mean? You don't want to live in the past, but you also don't want to just continuously look at the future and not think about the present moment. I have a lot of students too that get really frustrated with themselves when they don't get something at first. I'm like, hey, Rome wasn't built in a day. I know as cheesy as it is, but it's true. Take it easy and enjoy the process, because you only get this time right now in this second. You don't get time back. You know, enjoy the time right now. That's my best advice. Can you learn how to do the splits by yourself at home with videos? Also, if so, how? Yes, you absolutely can. I know people that have learned to do the splits at home. I've taught people who have been able to get flat in their splits recently, and I'm so proud of that. Proud teacher moment. I have like 3 or 4 students that just got their splits. So definitely check out my splits challenge and let me know if you want to see one this holiday. I guess I could do that too. Is it possible to perform a proper développé at 30? Oh, absolutely. It's possible to do anything. Don't worry about it. How do you stay passionate about ballet? I think it did take a breakup. Like, me and ballet broke up for a bit. I didn't do ballet for months. Like, even in my free time, I didn't create videos, I didn't teach, I didn't do ballet for months. And then I really missed it. And distance makes the heart grow fonder, as they say, but it's true with me and ballet. So I had that time to miss it, but I also had that time to think about what I wanted to do truly. And ballet has always been something that I've loved and always dreamed about, and it's my favorite thing. Like, even as I was a kid, I get emotional talking about it because I love dance so much, and I would just watch videos and sew my ballet shoes, and I got so excited when I was sewing my pointe shoes. I just felt like, I don't know, not me getting emotional talking about ballet. It's so cheesy, but it's true. It just was like a huge part of me, and I couldn't imagine not doing it. And even if in its hardest moments where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna quit. And I did take time off for a lot of the time, but I just missed it so much. So I think the way I stay so passionate about it is reminding myself why I started. And that's what I would recommend to anybody. You know, if you are at a point where you're questioning whether it's right for you or not, remind yourself, why are you here? You're not here for your parents. You're not here for your teacher. You're not here for your colleagues or your friends. You're here for you, and that's what's truly magical about dance. And why did you start in the first place? You know, were you a little girl and you looked up to ballerinas and you would watch Barbie the Nutcracker, and then you got a DVD and you saw that they went to ballet school and you wanted to be just like them? Because that's what happened to me. And I remember that little girl, I was like, I don't know, 9, 10, 11, and I dreamed about ballet every single night. Like, I would go in my room and stretch. I would stretch watching TV with my parents. I loved it. It was my whole life. It was my favorite thing ever. I looked forward to ballet class. And you know, as I get older and I'd be like, oh, I don't want to go in today. I just remember, no, little girl Jasmine would be so over the moon to hear that I'm doing this. So I'm doing it for her. What types of toe pads do you wear inside your pointe shoes? I think I wear the body wrappers ones. I have put them in my gift guide, and I put a couple of others as well. Last but not least, talk about your challenges about being a ballerina. So like before, I guess the biggest challenge was the pay, but another challenge that, like I mentioned before as well in a previous question, is the body image. And that's something that I did struggle with for a really long time. I haven't really opened up a lot about it, but I will when I'm ready. And at the same time, I don't really identify with that part of me anymore that struggled so much. I'm a very confident person now. I'm very happy with how I feel, how I look, and I love myself for all of the flaws and all of the insecurities I used to have. But one of the biggest struggles about ballet was body image for me for a really long time. And it took a long journey to get where I am now. And if you are somebody who's struggling, you have to reach out. It's something that should be talked about more widely, but no, you're not alone. A lot of people struggle with this, and it's okay that you're, you know, going through this, but it's not okay to talk to yourself that way. So reach out to somebody, talk to somebody. And with that, I will probably end today's video, and I hope you guys enjoyed the rest of your day, and I hope you enjoyed tomorrow's video that will be out in a few hours. Well, not in a few hours, but 24 hours. Anyways, as always, it's such a pleasure to hang out. Have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, happy dancing, happy Vlogmas, and until next time, bye now.